What up guys, Gavex here, and today I'm going to be making a video about some basic sound design in Serum 2. The reason I'm making this video is because I did a little poll and the answers as of making this video were actually 50-50. The two options of the vote were either like a basic overview of Fruity Slicer or how I do my sound design in Serum 2. The very first vote was for Serum 2. Now it's one vote for each, but I'll do Serum 2 this video and then maybe the next video I'll do Fruity Slicer. So this is Serum 2. The reason that Serum 2 is what I like is because I feel like I have the most experience with it. Every video that I've watched on sound design has actually been in Serum. I've only watched a couple videos on Vital, but I just think Serum has a little bit more options because more people use it. I feel like it's easier to understand for me. So here's Vital as well. I think the things that Vital does better is I think the UI is a little bit better in Vital. One thing that I really would like to point out about Vital that is a lot better than Serum is a lot better than honestly any delay that I've ever seen is this. It shows the delay. So I can pick ping pong and it shows me what it's going to do to my waveform. I like this because I feel like it's a lot more beginner friendly because I can see, you know, what it's going to do. Like my feedback, you know, I can see what this knob does in real time with my mix, same thing. I think this is a lot more beginner friendly on learning what the actual effect does and how it affects your waveform. I think another thing that they do well is kind of just their oscillators and just how everything is set up. I think like the actual setup of the UI is a little bit better than Serum. And there's a lot of options in Vital, even for it being a free plugin. So I think that if you don't have Serum 2, Vital is the best option. Honestly, a lot of people like Vital better than Serum. I think more people like Serum better than Vital, but if you can't afford Serum or you don't want to buy Serum, Vital is just as good, I swear. So if you guys want a video on Vital, definitely do let me know about that in the comments because I will definitely do that. I'll just try and learn as much as I can about Vital. Right now with Serum 2, I'm really just going to be making a video on kind of what I know right now. I feel like I know a decent amount about Serum, but there's a lot of parts that I kind of just blank on. What I mean by this is that there's a lot of things that I haven't really used. I feel like I have a good grasp and I've done some sound design in the past a little bit for some of my beats. Just having that little bit of experience is kind of enough to make like an entry video of Serum 2 at this point. If this video goes well and you guys want to see more of Serum, because obviously I use this like in probably all my videos so far. If you guys want to see more of a deep dive into the Serum sound design, I'll be sure to learn a lot more about it so I can understand all the stuff that it does so I can kind of teach you guys about it. All right, so I think the first thing that you need to know about Serum is the oscillators. So your initial preset is just going to sound like this. Kind of just like a normal triangle wave. But with this right here, wavetable position, you can change it. So let me just hold this note right here. So as you can see, that changes it. Another thing, very important thing, is this unison. So basically what it does, adds multiple different waves into the sound that you're getting. So here's with one, and I'll just kind of start going up slowly. That's how you kind of get wider synths, wider sounds. And then this detune knob right here, if you detune it, it'll bring them all closer to the bass. And if you detune it up, it'll bring it further away from the bass. So here's how they sound. This is normal. And then I'll just drag the slider. Another thing that's probably important to know is this warp. So you can change what kind of warps you have. If you look here, it has so many different options that you can choose from. And all of these are kind of just, they will just change the sound. Some of them add effects, some of them add noise, some of them are just like filters. I like the alt warps a lot because it kind of just adds a better sound or like a different sound to it. So yeah, you can just click all the different warps. And you can just pick really whatever you want. And then this little slider here, it changes how much the other warp is. And then so once you pick whichever warp you want, let's say I want this, I can go in here and I can change this one as well. So it's kind of like a double. Another thing with the unison is this blend. It's basically for volume. Self-explanatory there. Then you have up here, this is like octaves. So I'll play a note and then I'll go up with the octaves. And then here you have semitones. Then here you have fine tuning, which is like with sense. This right here is called coarse pitch. Basically what it does, it is just changes the pitch by sense, but you can just do it however much you want. It goes up to 64. Okay, so the next thing that you guys will need to know is that you can use multiple oscillators, not just one. I can have this oscillator here, and I can change the position so it adds a little bit of a different sound. So if I want it to be this sound, and maybe I'll add some unison to it, maybe a little bit of detune. Now you can hear it on its own. And I can maybe pan this to the right. That's more on the right here. And then I can lower the level a little bit, grab like a random warp, and you can hear it just alone. And then I can do the same thing. Maybe let's pan this one with -30, and we'll go just a square wave, maybe 10 at once. Maybe we'll just keep the detune normal, blend them. Let's pick bend. Let's pick this again, PWM, and we'll maybe pick bend. Turn the volume a little bit down. Now you can just hear this third oscillator. And then you can add a sub too. You can pick whichever waveform you want. Obviously you have the coarse tuning as well, the octaves, so maybe I'll go 2 octaves down. Now you can just hear the sub. And maybe I want to tune these up. Or maybe I want to make it a 7th. You really can mess around as much as you want. Now I can add hum or any type of noise. Here's just the noise on its own. Very subtle. I'll turn it up so you can hear more. And there's so many different noises. You have like white noise, pink noise. You have a lot of things. And it's usually just a subtle thing that you kind of have in the background. If the noise that you have is really messing up your sound, maybe you fine tune it, you can pitch it. And now here's what we have so far. Now there's a thing called filters. So all these wavetables, even the sub, you can route to different filters. So let's say I want to route first oscillator to filter 1. Okay, I turn it to filter and then have it all the way to filter 1. I can turn on filter 1 and it's just a low pass filter. So if I just hear it, that's what it sounds like with the filter. So let's say I want to turn it up a little bit, change the resonance, drive it, and then this one will be what it sounds like after. Now let's say I want my second wavetable to go to the second filter. Then I just go here, turn it to 2. Let's go to filter 2, and let's just do band. So what this does is it gives you a little hill to work with, kind of. See what I can do with it. Here's what it sounds like with just the second wavetable. Now with the third wavetable, let's say I want it to go in between those filters, both filters at the same time. You just go to the filter, then turn it right in the middle. As you can see, it's covering both filters. So here's what we have so far. Now the next thing I want to cover is the envelopes. So you can use these in kind of whatever way you want. Attack is basically when the sound starts and how long it takes for it to get up to volume. So we're at 374 milliseconds. That means by the time I play a note, it will take 374 milliseconds to get up to full volume. And you can hear that right here. Fades in kind of. And you can do this, so it'll fit it in a different curve than linear. And then hold is how long it'll hold. And then you have the sustain, which is this is what you'll turn down to get a pluck sound. Decay and sustain really matter if you want to pluck. That's what the hold is for if you want like a pluck. Let's say I want to make a pluck here, then I'll turn the decay a little bit down, turn the sustain a little bit up. And then this release is how long you can stop holding the note for it to play. So this is with 700 milliseconds of release. That's what it sounds like, and then here's the 0. That's right when I press the button, it stops. You can also use BPM, which might be a little bit better for you. It depends on really your preference. So when you're looking for a pluck, this is kind of around the settings that you might want. If I wanted to make a pad, this is probably what I would do. And you can kind of just mess with it however much you want. Let's say for this, I'm gonna make a pluck. So what you can do also, you can drag an envelope to different controls. So let's say I want to drag it to this first wavetable's level. You can see what it might do. I'm gonna just play the first oscillator. So you can kind of see what it would do. I'm just gonna actually take that off there, and you can do that by right-clicking the envelope and clicking remove all destinations. For this next example, I'm actually just going to turn this back into a saw wave. This is what I have now. I just have a basic saw. And so now I'm going to show you guys the LFO and how it works. So it's basically like an envelope, but it's just a little bit different. So right now, here's my LFO. And I can change the rate. what I just did is I dragged it onto this only level. And how you can control it is if you use this little drag right here, you can see that little blue bar. That's what it's affecting. That's how much of the actual knob it's affecting. So you can see as I drag it how it changes. And then if I want it to affect a lower level, I can change the actual knob for the level and it would move the whole LFO. As you can see. Also, I can change the LFO shape itself as well as I can change the timing. So for now I'm just gonna put it on a quarter bar so it's easy to tell. So this is what our LFO sounds like right now. But I can move things and change them around however I want. And I can add things. If I click these lines over here, I can add different shapes and lines to my LFO in order to make it a little bit, you know, different or more unique. Can make it re-trigger freely. You know, let's say I have a bunch of different notes on my piano roll. If I do free, it will just always keep going every quarter beat. If I do re-trig, it will do it every single time there's a new note. So it will start the LFO over again, which is also the same thing on this noise. This is for the envelope, which is just free, and then this is re-trig, so it starts over again basically. So you can literally drag this to any destination. I can drag this to, you know, position. I can drag this to detune. I can drag it to semi-pitch, like you literally can drag it to anything. And for this, it's a little bit different. And I can just remove all destinations just like that. I also, let's say if I have it on like a bunch of different destinations, and I only want to bypass it on a couple. Here, bypass A level, which is oscillator A and the level. Bypass A pan. Let's say I want to bypass the universal blend. Just click that, bypass. But it's still there, so if I want to go back into it and remove the bypass, then boom. Let's say I bypass 2 of them, and I'm like, I'm just gonna remove all bypasses. Activate all destinations, and it brings them both back. So that's what it is with the LFO. So now I'm gonna show you this little feature called the voicing. So the voicing is basically the characteristics of the notes that play and how they interact with each other. So if I put this on mono, that means only one note can play at the same time. So let's say I'm clicking 2 keys right now. I'll start with one and then I'll click another. With mono on, that's how it sounds, but with mono off, this is what it would sound like. So they play together in tandem. Let's say I only have my poly on 2 notes. That means only 2 can play at once. So let's say I play 3 notes, I have it on 3, this is what it would sound like. All 3 at the same time, but if I have it on 2, this is what it would sound like. So it just switches to this. I start with these 2, but then after I click that 3rd note, it switches to this. A good rule of thumb is usually 8 is enough, because a lot of times your mix will get extremely muddy if you use more than 8 notes of one sound at once. Now we have this other setting called legato. So this is basically whether or not your envelopes are going to re-trigger when a new note plays. So basically it's kind of like the LFOs, how they re-trigger. But if you have it on legato, then that means it will be a free re-trigger. So if you don't have it on legato, then it will re-trigger after every note. Another very important setting that I love to use is this portamento setting. So in order to use portamento, a lot of times you want it on mono, but it works either way. So you can turn it on always, which means it will always slide. What portamento is it basically slides the notes. So here, I'll turn it on and I'll show you guys kind of how it sounds. I'll turn it on mono for this example. So it slides the notes, and you can turn it on however fast or however slow you want. When you have it on always, it means the notes will always slide. If you don't have it on always, that means only the notes that will overlap each other will slide. So I usually like to have it off because if I have it on, then I don't have a choice whether it'll slide or not. And if I have it off, that means I can just change some notes that I want to slide and some notes that I don't want to slide. And then this little button here is scaling. So basically it scales how fast the note slides based on how long the note is in your piano roll. Moving on to the next tab is your mix. So basically this is just a mixer, kind of like FL Studio mixer. Very simple, easy to understand. You can change all these oscillators and mix them in this mixer channel. You can also just mix them here if you'd like, but yeah, it's very simple to understand. Next one we have is effects. So this is where all your effects are. You can add, whatever effect that they have. You can also, save some buses if you want to come back to them in a little bit later of a time period. So let me say I'm just gonna add distortion on the main. So this is how it sounds. And then here's without it. And you can change, all the different distortions. So they all kind of do different things. Let's say this is a really good tip that I like to use a lot. Let's say I have 2 oscillators, okay? Let's say I want this very first one to have chorus. I want the first oscillator to have chorus and the second to have distortion. And let's say I also want both of them to have an equalizer on them. So then I'll route this one to bus 1 and I'll route this one to bus 2 and I'll bring it over here and then I'll put chorus, and then on the second bus I'll put distortion. So now only oscillator A is in bus 1, so only oscillator A has chorus. And if I add an equalizer on the main, let's do a low cut. Now both are being affected by the low cut, but only the first oscillator is being affected by the chorus and only the second oscillator is being affected by the distortion. Another thing that you might want, so let's say I make a sound, I make a patch, and I'm like, you know what, this is actually pretty cool. You can just click this little button right here and it'll bring you to all of your user presets that you've already made, or if you haven't made any, it'll just bring you to either this file where you just click your user patches or whatever file your user, and then you can just click save, and then you'll have that preset, and you can just go here, go down to your user, and then find it, whatever preset that you just made. If you ever want to look at all your presets, you can just click on the patch bar up here and you can look at all your banks that you have. If you want to look at all your presets without looking at your banks, you can click this button here and you can scroll through them. You can scroll through your banks on the left side and you can scroll through all your presets. In the middle, you can include or exclude categories, different categories. So let's say I'm looking for a pad. Now it's only showing me presets under the pad category, and it shows me all the locations in the middle. You can also rate them, because then maybe, you know, you'll want like only 5-star ratings or only whatever. It's very customizable and I really like that part of Serum. That's basically all I use when it comes to Serum. I kind of only use Serum. I use very little sound design in Serum, but when I do use it, I think it's pretty fun. For the end of this video, I think we should make a beat using only sounds that I designed. Let's start out with this initial preset and let's see what we can cook up. So I'm just gonna get a basic pattern down before I actually design the sound that I want to use. Alright, now that I got my melody done, I think it's time for some drums. You know what I'm saying? Low key, drums is such a fun part of making a beat, man. I love it. Alright guys, we got everything arranged and organized and everything, so yeah, here's the full beat. All right, guys, there was the beat. That's the end of this video. I really appreciate you guys for watching, and I love y'all. I hope this video helped you guys out in any type of way. Obviously, I don't know too much about Serum 2 yet, but like I said, if y'all want a deeper dive into it, you just gotta let me know in the comments of this video. I will do my best to learn it so I can make another video for you guys. But yeah, since the votes came in even on the poll between Fruity Slicer 2 and Serum 2, Fruity Slicer is probably going to be the next video that I do, but this Monday I will release another poll. Hopefully you can get some results from that, but if not, then I'll just drop a Fruity Slicer 2 video, just like a shorter little video into it and kind of like a guide on how to use it or how I use it. And yeah, so this was a bit of a longer video, but you know, there's a lot of information to unpack in Serum 2, and I barely even scratched the surface, I'm not gonna lie. Appreciate y'all for watching. If you want more videos like this, you know, subscribe, turn them noties on so you can peep. I upload every Friday. Like this video if it helped you out in any way, and yeah, peace out, y'all.